You know, I hate to get involved in these situations because to me, I think of them as dumb. You know, I think it's really ignorant that in this day and age we still have to deal with situations such as this. And because of the fact of social media becoming a weapon or a tool used by most to spew hate mostly just for attention. And some people are just blindly ignorant because of the circle and the bubble that they live in society. And some just have blatant agendas. Now, nobody was even talking about the Super Bowl 50 performance at halftime. It was a non-issue. But who brings this up and makes it an issue? White people. White people made this an issue. And why did white people make this an issue? White people and white media made it an issue because Beyonce was celebrating the Black Panther Party's 50 years. Okay. 50 years of the Black Panther Party. And that was the only thing this guy, Jonathan Gentry, actually said that was accurate. And that the Black Panther Party started in Oakland. Yes, that is exactly correct. And she was honoring that because the Super Bowl, celebrating their 50th year anniversary, was in Oakland. So why not celebrate the Black Panther Party? But here's where his ignorance comes into play. He tries to allude to the fact that the Black Panther Party was a racist organization, when all they were trying to do was police and govern themselves, which we are supposed to do as a community. That's the same thing when you have a block club community. You're policing and you're governing yourselves to do better by yourselves, to improve. The Black Panther Party had white members, white people that came in and helped out the organization, who was a part of the movement, who was there, who was anti-war. You see, if you're going to talk about the things, but I get you. See, I don't talk about people or give them this type of attention without doing research on you. So, Mr. Gentry, I know what you are. I know where you come from, and I know who you align with. And you know better. But I know what you're trying to do. And I know what you were doing when you made the video. Okay. And for those who didn't hear it, I'll let you guys listen to what he had to say a little bit, and we'll go through it.
People have been asking me what did I think about Beyonce's performance yesterday at the Super Bowl. I do know what she was doing. You understand? And I will say this, and this isn't coming from a white, black issue. This is just speaking truth and speaking what's right. There is a double standard that we do not acknowledge and that we do not address. There is a huge double standard. You can't tell one group, sit down, shut up, what you do is racist and offensive to me, put your Confederate flag away, while we want to parade and shove how we feel down everyone else's throat.
Isn't that how this nation was built? Our very existence was offensive to them, and they're shoving how they feel down our throats. But you don't speak on that because you don't come from this era of struggle on this side. You stay in a protective bubble where you're a little circle of friends in the newsroom, journalistic world that you come from, where there's propaganda and you support it, and that's all you're going to do. You don't have an opinion. You don't have fact. You just throwing hate down to support whatever it is your company that you work for, who cut you a check, is saying. So this is the type of fools they throw on television, and they started, and then they put somebody like him as the face of it. Somebody to lead it, to say, well, that's not even a white guy, that's a black guy. And they created the rumor. We respond to the rumor, keep it going, and that's how the nonsense gets started. And then they say, look at them, they always complaining about something, aren't they? That's those black guys. They just, oh my gosh, they're just never happy. Because this is how they program. This is how Fox and all these other stations, they work. Because the news aren't designed for us. They're talking to the other non-blacks that are watching the news. They're feeding them the lies. They're feeding them the information. So they go out there and they take it at face value. When they create all this nonsense. The Cam Newton situation, they created that. I called it. I knew that would happen. But we'll talk about that later. Let's listen to him some more.
I do know what Beyonce was doing yesterday. And then just a little history. 1966, Huey P. Newton, Geronimo Pratt. That's when the Black Panther Party was originated in 1966 in Oakland.
That's a fact.
50 years ago.
That is a fact.
Super Bowl 50 was yesterday.
That's
in
right.
the Bay Area near Oakland.
That is
So
correct.
Beyonce was parading in a celebration of the 50-year anniversary of the Black Panther Party.
That is correct.
I do know what she was doing. And I will say this now, and you and I know, and this is, I'm speaking to the black community. You and I know. You and I know, and let's just be real. Let's cut the crap. You and I know if anyone else did a performance and they wanted to represent their heritage or how they feel about the past or history, and it was racially motivated like hers was yesterday, we would be pissed. We would be pissed.
Now, what do you mean racially motivated? The fact that they were celebrating black people? I don't understand. I have never seen a Jewish man saying, I don't think we should celebrate no type of memorials or anything for our fallen comrades, the Holocaust Museum, anything like that. I'd have never heard that. Yom HaShoah, the Day of Remembrance for the Jewish holiday, for the Romanian Jews, the 6 million Jews that got killed. I don't remember anybody Jewish saying, you know what, if we celebrate all of this, anybody else saying, we should be pissed. That racially motivated. How many times have the Jewish celebrated through song, through anything about the Holocaust? The Jewish Holocaust. Nobody black was pissed. Nobody black said anything. You're talking, and I hate when guys like this try to relate to us as if they speak for us. Like, you know, brothers, brothers, listen, I grew up in Encino. I know exactly what's going on in the world. Bro, you know I'm down. You don't speak for us. So, I'm not even going to go and look this guy up on Facebook. His name is Jonathan Gentry. Okay, Gentry, Gentry. You'll see his video talking about the Super Bowl performance and things of that nature. Look at his profile. I could listen to him and knew before I even got there everything I needed to know about him, and it just backed up everything that I thought about him. So you go check him out. And for him, he probably think this is okay. This type of coonery, this type of buffoonery. But it just shines a light and shows you how ignorant people are. Anybody that will follow a human being like that. He's not his own man. He's a puppet. He'll do what anybody who cuts him a check tells him to do. He doesn't have his own thoughts. He don't have his own mind. And to keep people like that further away from me is exactly what I do on a day-to-day basis. And people go, you got white friends. Exactly. It's not a white and black thing. Not for me. Because I know who I am. I can be friends with anybody. It doesn't change me. I'm not blind to the world. And I won't be anybody's puppet to blindly mislead, which basically you're contributing to a genocide. That's what you're doing. All for what? Attention. So, to tell you the truth, the first time I watched the halftime performance, I was just watching Beyonce legs. I didn't really see anything. So I had to go back and watch the performance to really see what anybody was talking about. Nobody really cared about like the halftime performance. That's all. I was like, man, look at Beyonce legs. That's about the only thing I saw in that halftime thing until I went back and watched it after the controversy and was like, oh, they did do a tribute to the Black Panther party. That was nice. I actually liked it. Formation, I like it. It's a good thing. It's a perfect thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But why shouldn't they celebrate? Anytime somebody black gotta celebrate, we gotta apologize for celebrating. Ain't that crazy? Now, scratch your head and ask, why is that?